I had a woman today on a call and she's like, you trigger people. And I was like, no, that's not true. I don't know, because that's a you thing. That's not a me thing. And she goes, well, you must know you do this. And I was like, no, because I'm not going to meet you where your insecurities are or meet you where you're not in your power, because I don't want to feed that. If I showed up every day worrying about how people received me, I would never be allowed to be unapologetic, first of all. Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Quantum Woman. I'm your host, Shamina Taylor. In today's episode, we're going to talk about unapologetic wealth. What does that mean? What does that really mean? And why is it important that we as women have this? And why is it like so important that that's in place in order for us to get to our next level? Now, I'll tell you something. There's something that I feel like I fully have embodied, and that's just allowing myself to be as wealthy as possible as I want it to be. And I don't have to explain myself. So unapologetic means you are not coming up with any resistance. You are not saying, I did this to get that. I earned it, so I deserve it. You're not saying all these things to justify why you get to have the wealth. You just get to have it because you just get to have it. And that's a really foreign concept for many people, because we've been conditioned as women, as a society, we've got to earn it in order for it to have it. Even as a young kid, okay, if you eat all your food, you'll get dessert. If you do this like a good girl, you'll get a candy. If you sit there and be good, you'll get a lollipop. So everything has always been on a reward basis. So, when you've done something good, you get a reward. You get, you do really well in a test, you get a sticker or you get something. Everything has been training us since we were younger that we must do something in order to get. Also, we've also believed that, some things don't come easy, like love, like caring, people caring for us. So we have to have these conditions placed upon us, for us to be worthy to have love. Are we worthy to have attention? Are we worthy to be validated? How many degrees do we have? How much have we done in order for us to feel like we're whole or that we're important? A lot of the times our income determines whether or not we are good and worthy. Like, did we make a lot of money? And if you make a lot of money, are you, at that level? And speaking from somebody who has 3 degrees and I've made millions, I will tell you, none of that stuff really can fulfill a place in you that needs to be filled all the time. When you become unapologetic, there's no need for it. It's just, you understand you through and through that you just get to have it. So, I've heard these things before: you were worthy and nothing has changed and you just get to be worthy. Well, one of my core wounds was feeling worthiness, because, growing up with someone, a father who didn't give me that safety and, didn't reiterate that I was worthy of love. Instead, I had to keep doing, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, in order for someone to love me. I didn't have that. I didn't have that unconditional love. Everything was conditional. So for me, my worthiness was always in question and I had to keep working on it. And so that might be easy for some people. They're like, oh, I'm worthy and I just get to have it. I get to have these things. But for me, there's no conditions. There is nothing that has to happen before for me to have something. All has to be in place is that I believe that I can have it. All that has to be in place is that I know that it's possible, then it's mine. All that has to happen is if I expect it, it's on its way. And those are strong convictions and beliefs. And I'm not saying they come easy. Those are things that you have to really work on. You have to get into that frame mindset. You have to work on that little person in you that wants to sabotage you, that wants to tell you, no, we're not good enough, wants to tell you that there has to be so many things in place before you can get X, Y, Z, wants to tell you that their suffering is there, wants to tell you, we have to overcome, wants to keep you small, and because it wants to keep you safe. What I've realized now is that I'm always going to be safe. Yes, there'll be things that disappoint me. Yes, sometimes I will feel some hurt, but I'm going to be okay. But as long as I allow myself to be fully in this power, what can I do? And I'll tell you, when we're going to that next level self, right? And this is why this is important. And I'll tell you why it's equated with unapologetic wealth. You will see yourself expanding. If you're a service provider, you're a practitioner, you're someone's running an online business, your business is basically selling you, right? And putting yourself out there. And, people are buying you, your brand, and how you embody that. And one of the things that are really, really important is like, how do you position yourself as an authority, right? And so, how do you show up in this full, authentic version of yourself? And how is that energetically aligned so people can feel that, that frequency as well? It's so important that your consciousness and everything all lines up. Now, when you start putting yourself out there and you start going to the next level, you're going to be around people who are doing bigger things than you. And the first thing that happens is like you feel that comparisonitis comes up and like, oh, like I shouldn't be in this room or I shouldn't be here because they've done bigger things than me. They've made more money than me. And then you want to shrink kind of back down, not consciously. It's like a subconscious thing. You're like, well, I'm not as important as them. I'm not as famous as them. I'm not as influential as them. Like, who am I to be here? And then you have all these little self-sabotaging thoughts that come up. But when you're unapologetic about being who you are, that means you've done a lot of work on yourself, a lot of work on yourself to love all the parts of you that maybe not everybody will love, but you love. And, being unapologetic in the truth that you speak and like how you show up and, saying like, this is the way, this is what I do. This is what I practice. Like I teach wealth. Like I could teach you the ABCs. I know it so well. I know what people's resistance are. I know what self-mastery is. All of those things. I know it because I live it and I breathe it and I practice it every day. And I also know who the client is that I work for, that it would work for, and that wants to work with me. Now, unapologetic means we just don't say sorry. We just don't really care whether or not people like what we're doing. And I had a woman today on a call, and she's like, you trigger people. And I was like, no, that's not true. I don't know, because that's a you thing. That's not a me thing. I don't really, and she said it to be kind. She's like, I've been in your world in and out. And sometimes I see you posting things inside the Facebook feed, and, I'll get so upset because I'll see like you just living this happy life, and, and I am struggling, and you're just posting another success, another this. And it really sometimes bothers me. And she goes, well, you must know you do this. And I was like, no, because I'm not going to meet you where your insecurities are, or meet you where you're not in your power, because I don't want to feed that. And if I showed up every day worrying about how people received me, I would never be allowed to be unapologetic, first of all. Okay. First of all. And second of all, when it comes to wealth, people got so much shit around it. It's like so much stuff. Like, don't tell people how much you make. Don't tell people how much that is, or make sure you tell everybody how expensive that is. It's all these things that really represent who you are. And it's a reflection. And there's all this emotional shit that goes with it. And so people do get triggered when they see somebody being successful, because then they think about what they don't have. But I'm not speaking to that person. I'm not speaking to somebody who doesn't believe it's possible for them. I'm speaking to the woman who's like, yes, me too. Show me what you got. How do I do that too? Because she knows that abundance is there for her. So being unapologetic with wealth means, guess what? You get to be rich. Now, with that said, is everybody running up to be my friend? No. No, but this is not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to live my life so that everybody likes me and that the neighborhood, women, or my kids' sporting teams, the moms come and want to, do events with me, because they're not on this level of thinking of where I am. I'm cultivating a crew of women and a society and a movement and a community of women who are like, you know what, we just get to have the things, and I'm not saying it's so much easier for men, but it has been with their creation of wealth and how much money they have. It's been so much easier. But for us, we're nurturers, we're providers. We shouldn't want more money. And here's another thing that comes up, right? Like, once you start making $100,000 a month, or even above 50, 30, 50, that's a lot of money, right? And one of the biggest things that, my clients will face is like, I want more, but I know I don't need it. I mean, we don't need it. We don't need it. But you don't need is a condition. Need is saying that you deserve it. Need is like trying to justify the wealth. No, you want it just because you want it. And that is good enough. I remember being at a dinner party when I was in Manhattan Beach in August, I think. And one of the gals, foundation, I might have told the story before. I want to do all these things with money. And I really do believe that, some rich people are bad, because of the money. And I was like, are they really? She's like, you know what? They're not. And then she's like, well, I want the money to help, other people. And I'm like, do you really? She's like, yeah, but that's not the reason why I want it. I said, what do you want it really? She goes, because the freedom that it provides me. She's a newly single mom. And she's like, the freedom, the things that I can do, the experiences I can have. Yeah, that's it. Be honest. That's being unapologetic. Stop trying to wrap it up into like a present, make it look pretty just so you can satisfy this somebody else's belief system that you picked up from your mom or your dad or somebody else that said, you know what, we're not supposed to want more. You're supposed to give your money away. You know what? You're not supposed to have this much. You live on less, give the stuff away, do this, blah, 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 whatever the story is. And not everybody is going to agree with me. Not everybody's going to agree with me because their beliefs are going to be so rooted. And then I'm going to look at their bank accounts and their business and I'm going to be like, yeah, and that's why you're making only what you're making. That's why you're living only the way you're living. That's why you're not flying first class. That's why, there's so many women that have a lot of money, but they have like a broke mentality. They can't spend the money because they're afraid if they spend it, it'll go away. That's not living unapologetic. Unapologetic is waking up one morning like I did a couple weeks ago and be like, I need a new mattress. I need a new bed. I need new this. And spending $20,000. And then like literally, I want to say 7Xing it because it was just way more than that 4 days later. Because I know that money gets to come in and out, but I was also satisfying myself from a desired state. Did I need $700 pillows, these Four Season pillows? No. Did I need to buy sheets from Perrette, whatever they're called, for $700? No. Did I need to buy, a $7,000 mattress? No. I did not need it. But guess what? I wanted it. So I get to have it. Did I need to buy my G-Wagon? Nobody needs a G-Wagon. It's not like we're out there going in the desert and doing army things because that's what that's for. It's because we want it. Does somebody want a Rolls Royce? They want it. They want it. And that's enough. Not like I work so hard, I deserve it. Because then there's a condition on it. It's not unapologetic. It's a condition that has to be met before you get it. But what if you got into the energy of I just get to have it because I get to have it. And then that unapologetic wealth shows up. So then people, this begs the question, and people are like, well, what about the people who aren't humble? And what about the people who, they just flaunt their money? That's their business. That's a them thing. That has nothing to do with me. How people spend and use their money is none of my damn business. And if I make it my business, then it affects my money flow. Who am I to sit here and go, oh, they just went and bought blah, 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 blah. Wonder if they're broke. Oh, look what they did. Another vacation. Do they have money for that? Wonder if they're broke. Oh my gosh. It's none of my business because I'm sitting there judging another person about how they spend. You take judgment out of your own vocabulary, the way you handle things, you become more unapologetic about what you want in your life. You become more unapologetic about the wealth that you can have. When we take the judgment out of everything, because we have, when you're learning about wealth and you're learning about money, your parents will just teach you about it. They're like, you have to work hard and you get money. Work hard and get money. If you can take the judgment about how the money comes into your life and how the money goes out of your life, right? I need it. That's why I buy it. Nobody needs a Louis Vuitton purse. Those things aren't needed, right? Nobody needs to, fly to Tahiti. Nobody needs to go first class and, on a 24-hour flight. Nobody needs it, right? But if you can take that away, then you get in alignment with what you truly desire. And then when you start feeding that, then you're like, well, of course I get to have it. Yeah, it's mine. That frequency there of conviction is probably the highest level of wealth consciousness you can tap into. And being unapologetic about the wealth means I just get to have it because I get to have it. A lot of times people are like, well, I know very, very wealthy people, friends of mine, they become philanthropists, which is great. I think they should, do whatever they want with their money. That's up to them. They want to give their money back. I donate my money in different ways, but I don't donate just to get. When you give just to receive, it's conditional. And I hear people saying that, well, when you give, you'll get, you give, you get. No, that's a conditional thing. Once again, it's not unapologetic. It's like conditional. Take the conditions out, take the judgment out, see what's left. Are you truthfully standing in your straight desires when it comes to wealth and what you want? Are you living on that standard? Are you buying the things that you want? Are you investing in things that you want? I have a high level mastermind. And when I see women just paying without even asking much details, I already know I'm going to take that woman to the next level. The ones that sit there and they pine and they worry and they sit there, it's going to take them a little bit longer because although they have the money, They have this belief system that is gone. They have this belief system that went somewhere else. So they can't be unapologetic. They got to be secretive about their money. They've got to hush, hush. I had a woman that just recently joined my mastermind, and she's like, I can tell you this, but I can't tell other people because there's shame. Will people judge me? Yes, they will. But you have to be okay with it, because if you allow them to judge you and you let that not be authentically you, you will not be unapologetic, because everything you're doing, you're going to be worried about, what will they say? What will they say? What will they say? So you take a people pleaser, right? They're constantly worried about people will say. They're constantly worried about other people. So they start manipulating them. So they start being super nice. They start doing everything for them. So nobody has anything negative to say about them, because they're like, well, I covered all my bases. I did all the things you want me to do. Yet they have so much resentment, and they got actually the most controlling people, because they're trying to control your emotional reaction to them. Are they really in their authentic self? Are they unapologetic? Absolutely not. Because the fear of actually being truthful and not wearing a mask and showing up as themselves, well, that would just literally take a people pleaser and put them on the ground. And most of those people have scarcity mindset, because they worry about other people thinking. So they'll have money come in, money go out, money come in, money go out, money come in, go out, if it does come in at all. So unapologetic wall, this is what it looks like. Oh, yeah, I'd like the AMG brand new car. Yep. And I'm going to pay cash for it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. I remember a guy who told me once, he's like, you're crazy that you paid all that money. You're crazy. And for a minute, it stung me, because I'm like, yeah, I could have bought a rental property. But let me tell you, a rental property wouldn't make me feel wealthy like this every day. Every single time I get into that truck, I feel so wealthy. The wealth consciousness activates. Every time I wash it, I'm like, I did this. No man bought this for me. I did this. I did this. I did this. I went from nothing to this. This signifies so much of the creation of, I get to have whatever it is that I desire. And that car represents that every single time to me, to remind me, don't you dare play small, because there's something bigger out there for you. There's a jet. There's something else. There's whatever you want to live. Because imagine having a jet and you just call up the pilot and be like, do, 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 do. I'd like to fly here tomorrow. Do, 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 do. I mean, do that now with first class, but imagine having your own jet. You could take everybody with you, right? I mean, why not? And I'm not talking to people who want to live in limits and they like living humbly, and because I don't use that word, but I'm talking about people who are going big. Like, if it's there, why not? If it's possible, why not? That's my motto. So yes, I'm going to continue to be unapologetic about it. And I invite you to come with me if you're on board. I invite you. We don't have to push it in people's faces. Like, I don't sit there and go, oh, look at those shoes that you're wearing. Oh, that's what you're buying that. Oh, 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 oh. I'm not going to sit there and judge them, because judgment is a direct reflection of what I'm thinking and feeling about me. It really has nothing to do with the other person. This is a little off topic-y, but I saw somebody post something on Facebook about a picture with a woman who had extraordinary large breasts. They were like watermelons, like size, and that was her business to get the augmentation like that. But the way that people were commenting and cutting her down and being, oh, like, this is stupid, she's stupid. You could hear how much judgment. It is her body. They don't have to wear them. They don't have to live with them. It has nothing to do with them. So every time you catch yourself judging, and I have to catch myself, because if I see something, it's always signifies the smallness in you. When you judge others, it always shows your scarcity, that you don't think it's possible for you. So the more unapologetic you are, guess what? The more wealth comes to you, because you're in an abundant state, because if they can, you can. You also know if it's possible for somebody else, possible for you. You also know that if you live in this energetics, guess what? More comes to you. So imagine being in this place of, oh, I get to have what I want. I always get what I want. I get to have this. I'm unapologetic about what I want. There's no conditions. There's no resistance. Just bring it to me. The universe is going to bring it to me faster than someone else over there going, I've got to do this before I get it. I've got to do it dance. I've got to work really hard. I've got to blah, 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 blah. When you put some condition in front of it, it is not unapologetic. So are we going to step into that role? I saw someone post something. It was Val, a gal who's in one of my programs. She she printed out the Quantum Woman Manifesto. And then on the bottom of it, she put, what would Shamina do? And so when the moment strikes and you're like, thinking about like how you want to show up more in that energy, what would Shamina do? Tap into this frequency. Let me help you get to that next level. Let me help you become unapologetic with the wealth. And speaking of that, by the way, the Quantum Woman, Unlocking the Quantum Woman book is out on Amazon. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Unlocking the Quantum Woman. This is going to help you start getting into that emotional mastery, into that mindset of, rewiring those belief systems. And please leave us a review if you feel called. That would be amazing. And buy it for your friends. This is a book that you're going to be handing to everybody, because it's going to be one of those books that are going to be life-changing. Because you know me, I didn't just give you information. I gave you a blueprint. I gave you the how-to, because that's how I roll. So go get that book, get in there, start working on it. And if you are hearing this before the Chicago event, come join us. We'd love to see you at the Wealth Consciousness event on 11/11. We'd love to see you there. And listen, go join our Quantum Woman group, and you can go take our quiz, see where your money mindset is. It'll be very important for you to see where are you and how unapologetic are you. Go take that quiz too. Okay. If you think someone else, and I know this is going to be one of the most shared podcasts I've had in a long time, because it's one of those ones that are going to activate you. So you're going to be there and be like, yes, me, I want this. So share this with a girlfriend, share this with a friend, share this with anybody who needs to hear this, because it's time, ladies, for us to be unapologetic about so much, but especially about wealth. Because you know what? Wealth can create so many opportunities, and we can change the world. When we've got women who are having big money, in their hands, doing big things with money, we could do a lot of good in the world. And that's just not that's not the conditional thing, but there's so many good things that we can do, the experiences we can have, how we can show our kids a good time, how we can take our families and, on certain trips, how we can have, whatever it is that we want, that's the good that I'm talking about, not like having to go save everybody, right? Because you don't have to go save people, but the good meaning like we can experience this beautiful feminine flow of knowing money is always there to support us. And when you're in that flow, you are unapologetic with that wealth. All right. I love you so much. Thank you for listening in. Yeah, I was fired up for this one. And stay tuned for the next episode. Bye for now.